Elaine and I were friends, and we were part of the Austin Runners Club, and we were working together, organizing some events for it. And people kept seeing us outside of our cars and going, "Are you guys dating?" And we were like, "No, we're just getting." That just happened to be when we crashed into each other. And then there was a race where we went out there. That's how she celebrated her birthday, and I did the 10K and she did the 30K. After I finished, I was there when she finished, and it turned out it was the first race she'd ever won. And so I give her her medal, and then the race director's like, "You can give her the trophy too." So I did. And the next race, she was doing a whole series. I wasn't there, and somebody's like, "Oh, where's your boyfriend?" She's like, "I don't have a boyfriend." And the next race, someone's like, "Where's your husband?" She's like, "I'm not married." and they're like, "What about the guy who gave you the medal?" She's like, "Oh, that's." So she told me that, and for a few days, I'd just joking around, I'd call her wifey, and I was like, "Wait, that's not cool." So I called her homie for like a month just to try. And then at the very last race of that series, Kiana was there, and it's a night trail race, and we were all camping and stuff. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and she was up. She's like, "You can't stay." I'm like, "Me neither." So we were just sitting there chatting, and then we go over. We're like, "We should get further away because we're gonna wake everybody up." And we're sitting there by the lake, and it's literally the sunrise, and our friend Chris comes by and goes, "This is why everyone thinks you're dating. You're sitting here watching the sunrise." And Elaine goes, "Why don't we go on a date? That way we can tell people we tried, and it just didn't work out." And I'm like, "Are you asking me out?" I thought she was kidding. She's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "But one date, it's just that it doesn't work out." And so we go on that date, and it worked out. And we would go on a second day, but it was a long process. And even though we would go on a date and a few more dates and these kind of things, it would literally, and we'd spend some of the holidays together on it. It would be, that first day was September till March, where we're like, "You guys are dating?" I'm like, "No, we're not dating." But they were right. And old school, high school, junior high style, I made her dinner, like, "Would you like to be my girlfriend?" She's like, "Yes, you do realize I tell everyone you're my boyfriend, right?" I'm like, "Well, I don't tell anybody that, but I will now." And where I proposed was actually at a start line. She was doing her first Spartan Beast race, which is the toughest race I do every year. And I proposed at the beginning, and I proposed with a ring that said "Hope." And then we did the race together side by side, and it went really well. It was a tough day. It was sub-30. It was sub-freezing, and it's Spartan, so there's obstacles, and we had a water obstacle in 30-degree. But we got it done, and then our wedding was actually running themed. We got married under a custom start line. It said Elaine and Iram, and starred in the date, and had our Leo and Cancer. She happens to be a Cancer, and she's never cared too much about her astrological symbol. I'm a Leo. My last name's Leon. My high school mascot was a lion, so I've always liked it that I'm a Leo. But those were on there, and for me, it just was kind of the universe wrapping up that Cancer, it isn't just a disease. There's other associations with it, and so there's something that hangs in our house that has those stars on there that I think will permanently be there. And I literally lost the bet because I said marriage was in my future. So when I proposed, my friend Todd, who was one of the first people at the hospital, he was like, "You owe me $100." I'm like, "I do not owe you $100 till the wedding." And he was one of the groomsmen. But I also said I would never do anything longer than a marathon. I'd put off brain surgery to run a marathon. I'd won one fishing Kiana in a stroller, and that was more than long enough. But Elaine wanted to do an ultra, 50K Spartan, so literally more than twice as long as the race we had done. Almost 1 year minus 1 day to the date that we proposed. And so just a couple of weeks ago, we did that race. And again, we did it side by side. And so things that you thought you'd never be here I thought I wouldn't be here 8 years later. I thought Elaine would be part of my life, but certainly at this level. I thought I'd never do an ultra. And so it turns out that the possibilities are even beyond what you had ever thought to do or even hoped for if you just keep going. There's obviously people, I've been to way too many hospices and hospitals and funerals because I've made friends in this community. And so you keep that, and there's somewhere between you feel privileged, you feel guilty, you feel hopeful, you feel confused, because there's certainly nothing that makes me think I'm worthy, and because there have been some very good people that I've had to go to their funerals. But you keep going, and each day you just realize it's the longest I've ever lived. So there's never been a day that I've shrugged off. There's never been a day where I was like, well, that was a bad day. I say it's against my religion to have bad days, and that's just a sin I don't commit. Because I used to have bad days, but some of the things, I used to stress that. I'm like, man, those are so trivial. And so I get to go home to some really cool people. I've got a list of friends I could call on any given day. And I think a measure of happiness is how many people you could call in the middle of the night in the middle of an emergency. And I realized with some of this medical stuff that there are a few. And that's one measure. But I also realized with quite a few of them, as recently as my cancerversary party a few days ago, we laughed until the middle of the night. So, and we were sitting there telling stories about when this all started. And people have been like, you should tell this story more often. And I'm like, it's a pretty boring story. You put one foot in front of the other, the end. And one friend corrected me and he said, no, you're nowhere near the end, buddy. So those are the kind of things that help you realize, yeah, it's a good day.